Hello, happy Wednesday. Hi.
Oh, I'm sideways. My bad.
It's sideways. Yeah, that's better. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Is the question.
You know, I'm here. So good evening, everyone, and thank you
All
for
right.
joining me and this lovely young lady um to talk about why y'all being jealous out here in these streets with your
Mm-hmm.
with your booze and your friends and just being weird. Like, why are you being weird? Don't be weird. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I'm a little under the weather.
Hey,
Um,
Tone.
so we'll see how this goes. But anyway, um, so I guess we can just go on ahead and get right into it. So something had happened to me recently that kind of made me think about this as a topic of conversation. Um, and anyway, so I just kind of wanted to talk about how no one really, well, okay, let me rewind. First of all, welcome to the Becky Brown Girl Show. See, I'll be on time, but then I forget, other parts. I have like a brain fog because it's the meds or something.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know. Anyway, um, So I would like to introduce my guest host for the evening, the lovely Des Rivers. Des, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, everybody. So, as they said, I am Des Rivers, and this is my second time. So, thanks for the invite back. Yes,
Yes, indeed.
that's my Aries sister. So, it's all love up in here.
Your Aries Philly sister, because you know
Yes,
what it is. You know
yes,
what it is.
yes. And hip hop sis. Yes.
All that, all that.
And crew member, I forgot. We did do a video. Yes.
Exactly. We need to bring that back.
We sure
We need to
do.
bring
Because
that
that
back.
was fun and decent. Yeah.
Um, okay. So wanted to talk about how nobody wants to admit that sometimes, they might feel a little jealous, a little envious, sometimes of people that you don't know, and that you sort of look at from afar. Sometimes people that you do know. And that's really kind of what I want to focus on because sometimes it's the people that are closest to you in your circle, your friends, even your mate, your husband, your wife, whatever. And like sometimes it feels like they're in a secret competition with you. And I think that energy is super weird.
Mhm.
Um, I and I assuming it stems from some sort of insecurity, but like I'm wondering if other people have experienced a situation like that. It's like sometimes people pursue you, and I think this is probably more true in a situation of a man pursuing a woman. I could be wrong, but like he might pursue somebody that he perceives to be very desirable, so he can then take her and knock her off her pedestal. Like I've seen situations like that, and I think again it's super weird. Like why?
Mhm.
I mean, it's there's something in the mind of the person who behaves in that way. It's very manipulative and like I don't know. I don't like it. Um, and because I don't operate from a mindset of manipulating, like I don't think that way. I just take people at their word and at face value. When people, I think sometimes I might miss the signs when people are being more sort of manipulative and cunning than just being truthful with you and direct. But Des. I'm curious as to what your experience has been with situations like that, whether it was somebody you're dating or, friends, frenemies.
Mhm. Yeah. So one thing I will say is when you piggyback piggybacking off of what you said about, people who pursue someone and then, they want to knock them off their pedestal. I think that is definitely like an insecurity thing. And I feel like it definitely comes from a negative place. I feel like it's probably something that they have been through. They may have been hurt or whatever. And like, this is something that they feel like they are doing. Not that feel like they're doing, but I feel like they're doing it out of a place of hurt. And I don't even know if they realize what they're doing or why they're doing it, because it's probably something that they've never addressed within themselves. So that I have seen. It's like they have to break down somebody's self-esteem. And this is somebody whose self-esteem you were attracted to, I would think.
Right. Like, right. It's like in order to feel like now I'm going to make you mine, I'm going to break you down to the point that you don't feel like, like you start to believe the shit I'm telling you about yourself, and that,
Right.
when I'm telling you who else don't want you and stuff like that, and like all the things that I perceive to be wrong with you, right? You start to drink the Kool-Aid and
Right.
believe it to be true. And
Right.
then start second guessing yourself,
Exactly.
and it starts impacting, your own self-esteem, and yeah, those,
Yeah.
bad news,
It
bad
is.
news.
And it's sad, especially for the person on the receiving end, because you came into this relationship thinking you're, on level, like you're equally yoked with this person, just to find out this isn't the person you thought they were. If they presented that way in the beginning.
Indeed. But it also happens, among so-called friends. People who, again, I think sometimes people form bonds, and maybe this is more true among women. They form bonds over, like, you know, gossiping, like commiserating over, talking about people, and
Yeah.
like kinds of. I'm not saying that that's the basis of every friendship between women. I'm saying, but there are certainly some that have that like mean girl vibe
Right.
dynamic. I
Right.
hate it. Look, I'm not saying I've never, kikied
Right.
myself, but generally, like at this point in my life, I don't like being around that type of energy, because the same people that's doing that when you around are doing it
When
about
you
you when you ain't.
Exactly, exactly. And I feel like when you get to a certain point, when you're young and you're immature, then gossiping is a fun thing, or you might not see it as being harmful. But once you become an adult, like if that's the only thing we have in common, then we don't really have anything in common. Because, like you said, like I feel the same way. Like I don't even want that kind of energy in my space.
Exactly.
I don't want to operate from there. I don't want to engage in it. If I'm in a conversation with someone and it starts to go in that direction, then I'm ending that conversation real quick, because I don't want to go there. Like I have too much. Like I got a lot of other stuff going on that I can spend that time with.
That's the part, because I was going to say, I feel like, people that sort of thrive on that type of vibe and energy is because they don't have anything else going on in their lives, so they'd rather focus on what other people are doing, and again, try to knock them off their pedestal, or they perceive them as worth paying attention to, right? It's in the same vein that people follow people on social media they don't like, for what?
Right.
Like, I mean, maybe you might have had something in common with them when you initially started following them, or some interest in following them at first, but maybe you might find, the types of content they post, like, you don't like it, right?
Right.
But you
Right.
steady following them, watching them, trying to see what they're doing, and then you go kiki with somebody else about it. Like, why? I
Yeah, I
mean,
think that pretty much, in my, like the way I see it, I feel like there's always at the base core foundation, there's that admiration there, and they admire this person, but they don't know how to express it to them, because they're probably thinking that they're going to look like I hate to say this is a Philly term, but they're gonna look like a dick eater or something, or because I'm giving this person props. Like you have to reach a certain level in life, a comfort level with yourself, regardless of what anybody else thinks or says. You got to be comfortable in yourself to be like, I really admire this person, but if they are on the other type of time, like, you know, I'm going to see what they're doing so I can take and run back and say something to somebody else, or we can talk about it, then that's just, it's not mature. But it's also just, if you come into me gossiping all the time, and I feel like I'm not a judgmental person, I'm very open, like very welcoming to everybody, whatever your personality is.
Yep.
But I'm gonna judge you if that's all you ever have to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, nah, you can keep
Right.
that.
Because it definitely, again, it definitely is a reflection of what's lacking in you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
as I have said on, prior lies, I like therapy is the shit. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people would benefit from going to it, and not because now I think I'm better than somebody because I go to therapy. I just think I understand myself better and why I behave again in certain ways, why why I react to certain things a certain type of way, and to find more productive ways to respond to things that trigger me. I hate that word, but
Mm-hmm.
honestly,
But it is. I mean,
because
it's a thing. And
yeah,
that's
people,
unfortunately like people who haven't, and I'm an advocate for therapy. Like I love therapy.
right.
Um, but some people, if they haven't dealt with things, then they don't even realize what's going on. They don't realize why it's going on, and they don't realize when they're triggered and what's triggering it. So I mean, it's a real thing.
And then
And
they just project it onto you.
yeah, I was just looking at Andrew Thompson Clifton. He said we should definitely follow and unfollow as life moves and changes, and relationships change in real life, and they do online. I completely agree. Like people act like online is like a totally different thing from real life. Social medias and online, that's real life. Like I have met some amazing people from social media. I've
Indeed.
made some bonds. Yes. So I agree. Like the same thing. And you know how people are like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram because it's too much drama.
Yep.
If you don't have drama in your regular life, then you shouldn't have drama online.
That's the
So
part.
yeah.
That's the part.
So yeah, I definitely agree with Andrew Thomas Clifton.
Well, and I think, I don't know, well, yes, I know you have been in groups because I think that's how we originally met. But yeah, so I think some of the groups, which was more like a Facebook thing, I think that's definitely a catalyst for a lot of that sort of clicky high school, you know,
Mm-hmm.
drama, and especially when people start, dating and what have you. I think it can get like super weird. But again, like I just feel like we too old.
Yeah.
We too old for these type of shenanigans. So, and like what, look, I got one foot on a banana peel out in these streets. Like I'm not, I don't want to. I've probably wasted more time, than I would like to admit in my life, not doing things to evolve and better myself. So like, why would I want to spend time now worrying about what somebody else is doing who may or may not be thinking about me,
Mm-hmm.
like at all?
Right.
Or who certainly doesn't have my best interest, in
Right.
mind. And like I think, we should just focus our attention and energy where it's best served.
Right.
Mutually beneficial relationships. I try to follow people, who I find to be inspiring. I mean, I follow
Mm-hmm.
some like ratchet,
Yeah.
like
We all do. We all
nonsense.
do.
I do. It's funny, right? But yeah, I don't want to sort of like what you take in mentally affects so many other like areas of your life as well. So
Definitely do.
I think we definitely need to be mindful of that. But I'm curious from my folks who are on the line if anyone would like to share their experience of jealousy. I'm not talking about, again, an external party. I'm talking about like within your close relationships, family, close friends,
Mm-hmm.
frenemies, people who want to just kind of be in your space, in your orbit, that may not necessarily have your best interest in mind. They just want to be in close proximity to you
Mm-hmm.
for some reason other than, like your genuine best interest. Like any fellas got a story, y'all be on here to
Mm-hmm.
talk about a lot of other
Yes.
stuff.
It could be an intimate partner. You don't have to say their name.
Right. I don't want to get anybody in trouble,
Right,
but
right. Well,
you
I
know.
do have one. I was dating this guy, and I didn't even notice at first, but I'm, these days I'm super social, so I'm always going somewhere, always getting dressed up, and oftentimes he didn't go to events with me, like that just wasn't his thing. But I would notice, like, if I'm getting dressed, or if I'm somewhere, or if we are somewhere together and I'm like dressed up, and people would compliment me, and he would like kind of step off, or like I would catch him like giving me some kind of look, and then like later on he might make like a little snide remark, about me being complimented. And I ain't paid, like I said, I didn't pay it any mind. But then over time I noticed, like, when we were in those types of situations, like he always, like, I always got a vibe from him.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just, like, his mood kind of changed. And then I found myself, like, as we would prepare to go places, or we would be places, I found myself trying to like make him comfortable.
Right.
And just
Not
because
being
like, I'm not,
yourself
huh?
and not being yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, like I would go out of my way just to make sure, like, I, overly complimented him, or just to make sure he was comfortable with the environment. Because, like, this is, like I said, I'm social, like I do this all the time. I go out, I get dressed up all the time.
Right.
But I guess, like, that just wasn't his thing. But it wasn't until kind of like midway through our relationship, and after many events or whatever, that I noticed, I was like, is he, like, seriously, like, you feeling some kind of way? Because
But did you ever like confront him about it, or no? I mean, I feel like with a man, number one, he probably would never admit it. Like a man would rarely admit that they're actually jealous because they perceive that as weakness, or maybe they
Mm-hmm.
perceive it as a feminine characteristic, but they be jealous too. And again, they like to manifest it in a particular type of way, maybe being more controlling, or whatever the case. But you can't control people, and take it from somebody who may have expressed some jealous tendencies myself. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I can be territorial. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
lie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do know you can't, like, people are not possessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, as much as you might want to say, well, this is mine, this is, you know,
No.
and try to not try to control them like they're a child, but you just can't. Like, you have to let people be who they are, and
Right.
if there are certain behaviors that they have that you're not really comfortable with, and you kind of address it with them, and they don't change them, or they don't like compromise them, or whatever, or doesn't like in your situation, he wasn't necessarily telling you that he didn't like it. It was just a
His
vibe you were getting, right? Um,
mm-hmm.
and so I don't think there's anything wrong with maybe trying to be more, um, like, trying to make them feel more secure. But some of that is something that they have to, like, it has to come from within them,
Right.
right? And so
Right.
if they are already having an issue with insecurity, regardless of how much you might, try
Fine.
to build that up within them, they're going to just keep projecting it on you. Go
Right.
to therapy is
Mm-hmm.
the bottom
Mm-hmm.
line.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And
good for
I
you.
introduced them to therapy.
Which that?
I introduced them to therapy because I'm like you. I think everybody should go to therapy. So
Nah, for real
hopefully,
though.
yeah, I'm hoping he took advantage after after we ended. But
So
yeah,
yeah, I was gonna ask you, what did he actually do it, and how did it go for him?
so I don't know, because we haven't really been in communication.
Okay, I see. Please don't. You know,
Who's
I knew I should have put my phone on do not disturb. Anyway,
Well, somebody texting you on the back end, just come on here and talk. Come on here and say what you
yeah,
got to
they
say.
could do that, but I feel like it's being done purposefully.
Um,
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on.
We
Does
had somebody
anyone?
who said they're down to come on. Well, yeah. Hold on. Andrew Thomas Clifton. He said, "I'm totally down to talk about the male perspective. I don't have any jealous stories on my end though," which is irony.
Okay. I'll add him. I will add him. Um, Hold on. I hope you're available now. I hope you're decent.
Uh,
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
What's up, beautiful black woman? How y'all doing?
Good. How are
Wonderful.
you? Thank you.
Excellent.
Chilling. Home. Finally after a few days of traveling. Worn the fuck out.
So, so why don't you share with us your thoughts on, jealousy, envy, insecurity. Um,
Ooh. I mean, I think for men, it always roots back to how we were raised by other men. I happen to have a bunch of men in my life that taught me acceptance. And so I generally I was trying to think hard. Do I have any personal like jealousy stories? No. A ton of professional ones, like a shit ton. But I have zero of someone looking good when I'm out with them. Hell yeah, please be fine as fuck so everybody can look. Like I'm not even gonna look because I know it's funny. I'll go out with someone and I'll be like, they'll look beautiful, and I'll be like, people are going to look. This just accept it. It is what it is. Like you look good as shit tonight.
some some men like that, I feel like, but then again, some can't.
I think they just can't handle it, and I think it's the attention, like the attention that she's getting versus the attention that he's getting. But like you're a guy, like you're a man, you're not going to get the same attention. You're not.
But
I'm not gonna say you're not supposed to, but you
But
just aren't unless
it's
you
also
want
insecurity
to.
though, right? Because depending on how secure the relationship is,
Mm-hmm.
that may determine his level of jealousy. Because most men I know who are solid with a woman, it's like, all right, we good. Like it doesn't, ain't nothing to fear at this point. If she meets somebody else or whatever, good for her. Have a good time, Or if, but when I see it the most, when I'm out in public, I see it with dudes who don't understand, bro, she's already here with you. Like the odds of her leaving you at the bar for the dude that's 2 seats down is, unless you fuck it up by acting a fool. I mean, but okay, you know what? I have a story. It wasn't involving me. So me and my boy went to a bar in New York, and we were sitting there talking shit, smoking cigars. Beautiful woman in a beautiful sage dress sitting next to me on my left. She's talking to a guy when we came in. So like I came in, I peeped the scene. All right, cool, no worries, we chilling. We over here being dudes. At some point, like an hour in, she kind of turns and starts talking to us, and just like doesn't turn back to him at all. And it was like, because we're just like chilling, and both of us are kind of laughing because I'm like, the dude, he better go ahead and go home, like, because he's not handling this well. Like it's already over, bro. It's if you weren't boring, she wouldn't be talking to somebody else. It was
Right.
on the fact that what, this is not the night for you. But also, there's 5 other women in this cigar bar you could have a conversation with, and mathematical odds are someone's going to say yes because of how the world works. But he seemed to catch a little bit of feelings, and no drama ensued. But I could kind of see he was like I've been buying her drinks and buying her cigars before you niggas got here, and it's like, well, that's your fault, homie. You should have bought better cigars.
Don't leave your girl around me.
Like
Playing for real.
around us too, because we're both like fun, adventurous, artistic people. So I mean, it's he has to accept the fact that it just didn't work out for him and move on. And he didn't like cause any drama. But then we left about 3 hours later. We went down to a spot down the street, and then we saw what happens when a white dude liked this girl, and he was at the door drunk and like, hey man, let me back in. I want to talk to her. It was like real. It was real wild. Hold on, my light just
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, the light.
Yeah,
You have
I'm using my computer screen because I'm
okay.
lazy and shit. So yeah, it was like wild to see like total opposites on how it can be handled in one night. Now that you mentioned jealousy, because you could tell he wanted to get back in there and talk to her, but she looking like she kind of looked at the door like, I don't want to talk to this guy. Just like let it go, man. Like move on. I don't know where that comes from, but the inclination is always, whose man's is this? Like who the fuck raised this dude? Like it's okay. Like
The inclination comes from ego.
yeah, oh, absolutely. And but bad ego, like
ego and insecurity.
Ego.
It's yeah. I mean, because look, I've also seen. I mean, now I know the sort of the topic was really around like close jealousy in close personal relationships, but in situations where, like you said, you're just meeting someone for the first time, and you might have a rapport with the guy, and then maybe you decide, nah, he's not for me or whatever. Like, some of these dudes are crazy. If you don't
Agreed.
if you don't kind of like back away from the situation with some finesse, like I don't remember who it was, some like model chick or whatever had some dude approached her outside of a club, and I don't know if she like dismissed him like ignorantly, or she just was like, nah, I'm not interested. He ran over her foot with
What?
his car. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, just move on. You be all right.
And you have to know that by doing that, you have effectively killed any chance you had of any of, like, because it's gonna make news. So now you are the poster child for like who does, like, the person to not talk to ever. Like, you have effectively killed your dating across, because now with the way the internet works, you're on the world stage in a matter of hours. So now every woman on earth knows this nigga is crazy. Do not even, like, but also it's gauging the person you're talking to, engaging how you engage with them. Because certain people, I mean, when I watched For Color Girls, I read the book, but when I watched the movie, it was interesting how they used Khalil Kane as the rapey, creepy guy, right? The guy who, like, so handsome, so put together, so like this is about to be a good night, and then like you get in the house, and I just, as a man, I'm so flabbergasted because me and my dudes don't move that way at all.
Right.
But then I have to realize what it is like for women out here trying to meet people, and it's very much, I've taught my daughters to be very aware of who they're talking to and how they talk to them, to always be prepared to like back out as soft as possible, to try to keep all of the drama down, because you don't want to deal with some nigga that's gonna run over your foot when you get outside over a no. That's just too much.
Well,
Like,
and unfortunately, the conversation needs to be had on the other side, with the guys, like
More
who's ever
so,
raising them.
more so with them, because I
Well,
remember.
quite frankly, because I feel like we're always being told, and as you should, because I understand, you have daughters, so of course you should let them know as well. But from the perspective of, like, I have a son, so I would let him know, like, okay, somebody says no to you, that's not even his, like,
This person.
that's not his
Yeah.
personality, that's not his temperament, that's not his. And he's quite handsome, if I do say so myself, so he don't need to worry about getting rejected,
only
because
only a little bit self-serving. Only a little bit self-serving right there. Just slightly. Just poquito. Poquito.
I'm just saying.
From
But
the
obviously, he gets some girls, so.
Well, you know what? I have to backtrack. I do have one story about jealousy within a personal relationship that wasn't, well, it was sex involved, but it wasn't like sexually. It was about a friend of mine, a guy friend of mine who's my mentor. And he mentored me when I got into the art game. He was like the guy that showed me how to like go into a room and use all of my powers, like to open up, be handsome, be charming, be fun. Even though those weren't actually his traits, he saw the traits within me, and he taught me to use my abilities to like get art sold. And there was this one woman who was a friend of his. He introduced me to. I was like, all right, cool, like she's dope. And then like we had the eyes, we had the thing going on. We started a whole thing for like 3 months. And then, long story short, come to find out, he had tried to sabotage that relationship because he was jealous, because he wanted to get with her, but he hadn't said anything. He was just like, playing the quiet guy.
What did I
And I was like,
say about this the other
yes,
day?
I remember. Yeah, it's this shy guy routine shit. So like, it was irony because I was like, damn, like I thought she was my man. And it made me like stop fucking with him altogether, because I was like, you could have just told me, and I would have like, I still would have got with her, but I would have like, like, I don't know, like talk to, I don't know, like it felt so weird to be jealous when your friend is connecting with someone and it's natural and it works, just because it goes back to, he's not that guy. He is the guy he's the corporate guy who just, he leads with money. He leads with all the things that honestly most women don't really give a shit about. It's like you have to learn to listen. He never really learned that, which is irony. He taught me how to listen better. So yeah, jealousy is wild.
Yeah, and I'm just reading the comments, and Father Drew, I agree. He said we have to teach boys and men to deal with rejection, which is what we were just saying. because I feel like growing up in Philly all the time, we got hollered at, still get hollered at in the streets. And you have to kind of be like nice about rejecting somebody, but no matter how nice you are, it depends on his temperament. It depends on his attitude as to whether or not, because I've been called a B plenty of times just because I didn't want to talk to somebody.
You ate all that?
Yes.
I was a minute ago though, but all right,
Right.
whatever you say.
I was enough of that for you to try and holler, but okay, whatever. And then it also becomes, then they might get aggressive. So it escalates from the smallest thing, like he said, like we have to teach them to deal with rejection. Like you won't get rejected all your life.
Yeah. Everybody
experiences rejection in some way, shape, or form, but you can't let that like change the way you operate. Like it's okay, it didn't work out this time, and all right, move on to the next one, on to the next thing.
But again, I think it boils down to like why people interact in that way with anyone. If it's a personal relationship, if it's a professional relationship, it's something that they perceive to be lacking in themselves. So rather than expend so much energy like focusing on what somebody else has or is doing, or maybe it's just that person, like just who they are and how other people respond to them that makes them feel a way. Like focus on yourself, like focus on trying to be the best version of you, but not in relation to somebody else. What did they say about comparison? It's the thief of joy, right? So the more time that you spend, you know, and especially like, look, I mean, on social media, it's kind of hard not to like, I mean, we are being voyeurs into other people's lives. So, but if ever I feel like I'm looking, because look, we're human. So once again, I'm not saying I don't ever feel like, I don't ever feel feelings of, I don't know if I would describe them as jealousy in that context, but like, if it's not a spirit of like admiring somebody from a place of like, you know, good for them, but it's like, I'm kind of looking at them like, why them, not me? Then I'm like, all right, you need to check yourself. Like, that's not,
but you know what though, it's not easy. And you know, us having, you know, gone, I don't know if you've gone through therapy, but for us having gone through therapy, we know what it's like, and it's not easy, and it's painful because you're dredging up things that have been suppressed for so long. Yeah. So why, some people are probably like, why not just they go the easier route? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to deal with all this. I'm not going to put myself through these emotions and through these changes. I'm going to leave it where it is, and I'm going to just continue to operate out of this negative space. I'm going to continue to talk about people or judge people or, you know, whatever it is that they're doing. It's just,
yeah, because they'll
understand it.
Because they'll find people again who also operate in that space, and so that's their community. They feel comfortable commiserating, you know, over like over jealousy, you know, and of course they won't call it that,
right,
but that's really what it boils down to. And it's like, what's that?
If I could say something, I was gonna say I find my jealousy that I ever have, because we talked about a lot right there, and I'm sorry I cut out. It was my internet timer was like, you have 1 minute left on Instagram, and I was like, fuck that shit, give me the whole time, the rest of the day. So I keep myself to an hour and under a day. So it's interesting because what Instagram and social media present is sections of people's lives, and I do feel jealousy of shit because I'll be like, damn, what the fuck? Like, mostly for me, it's like, why this person, not me, for like a job, or why this person, not me, for this shoot or for this campaign, or I know that half of it's bullshit because most of the people I meet online, they're just presenting an idea. They like, there was a guy, I swear to God, he had like 200,000 followers. We met at a coffee shop. My man could not really afford to pay for his fucking food. And it was like, what are you doing with all them followers, bro? Like, why are you on here like fronting like you like, oh, I'm on this boat, I'm doing this work, and like, what's really going on? So I'm not jealous of you. I'm jealous of the guy who it's real talk. Like, it's a dude who like is less talented than me, who gets more work than me because he knows other people I don't know. And I know that the jealousy is healthy because it makes me think, then I need to up my networking game. I need to make my shit better. I don't feel, I think negative emotions are always positive things waiting to happen. I've learned that in therapy since I was 15.
But do you feel like I said, I'm not saying anytime I look at somebody else like sharing like a wonderful moment in their life that I feel jealousy. Like I feel genuinely happy. Like I'm not liking stuff just to be liking it. I like it because like I'm happy for that person. um Now, does it sometimes make me reflect on what's happening in my own life? Sure.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like I said, if ever I'm looking at something from a place of like, fuck that motherfucker, like, then I'm like, all right, do you really even need to be following them? Maybe you should snooze them. Maybe like, what is that about? And now that I'm in therapy, I have tools to sort of define what might be going on there. If it's not somebody that I have sort of a very close personal connection to, um, why? Like why are you worrying so much about that instead of doing some being grateful for what you have and then focusing on the things that are um fulfilling you in your own life or would be fulfilling you, finding your purpose, worrying about yourself, making yourself a better person instead of projecting that negativity onto somebody else, again somebody who either is not even thinking about your
Mm.
ass or
Yeah.
or somebody who pretends to be your friend but when you leave a room they talking about you too.
Yeah. We
Word.
gotta find those kind of people, somebody who is willing to, even if
Nobody
that's not you anymore, like willing to kind of
admit
give us like their perspective, because I feel like we don't have that, like that's just not in our character. Like we, like you said, like we look at people and it's like, all right, big ups, like we see you winning, we all winning. Like we don't have
yeah.
that in our spirit. So it's kind of hard to try and figure out like why someone, you know, is that way.
I
I
don't
wish
think
we
they would.
could
I
find
don't think they
somebody.
would admit it. I don't think they would
Yeah.
admit it.
I mean, they could say like, this is how I used to be.
Mm.
They could, but will
Yeah,
they? Hmm.
yeah, I
No,
know.
no, because nobody wants to portray themselves as a real human with real human emotions. But it's all good.
The
Um,
only time people portray themselves with real emotions online is when the wave of the internet is at that moment to be raw and real. When everybody else is doing the whole, oh yeah, this is my. But even then, it's curated. It's never. I've never, very rarely, no, no, never, very rarely seen a raw look into how it feels. Because the reason why I share the way I share is really for other men. Because I recognize that so many black men do not have an older black man who's not preaching to them, but just like, yo, like, this is how I got here. Like, I meet a young guy, like, I'm 17, I just want some pussy. I'm like, all right, get the pussy, and go for it. Like, I'm not going to tell you to be a monk, but also you'll eventually learn, like, it won't solve the problems you're trying to solve by fucking. It's really, but at your age, it's relative to understanding you're not going to figure this out tomorrow. My job is just to like be like, yo, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm creating. My whole platform is pretty much now pretty much black male. You're good because you're a black man. You don't have to shift yourself out to fit anybody's needs, but you do need to be receptive to women, as in this form right here. When you hear, like, don't be fucking running on people's toes. They said no to you in the club. Like, talk to her friend. If there's three friends, one of them gonna say, "What's up?" Right in front of her friend's face. I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh shit, what's up? Let me get your number. Cool. It's gonna work out for you. Calm the fuck down. Like, it's not that serious. And in Philly, listen, Philly women, like we had this conversation a couple days ago in the group chat was
what you
like,
got to say
Philly
about
women wear
Philly women?
the most random combination of patterns and fabrics known to man, but that shit works every fucking time. Like, you be walking into the city, you be like, you be in South Philly, you be like, damn, she wearing stripes, polka dots, tetrahedrons, but that shit looks good because she's a black woman. Fuck it. Hey, what's up? How was your day? So yeah, I love it.
Okay, I'm like, what did you get ready to say about Philly?
See,
Because
he
No,
didn't.
no, it's compliment. It's like
That's
love. I mean, like,
Thank you, thank you. Yes, for all the Philly women, he just complimented all of us.
okay.
all right, I'm gonna get off and let y'all continue to be
Shout
great.
out
But thank y'all
to
for
all
having me, though, for
five.
sure.
Thank
All right,
you for
thank
joining.
you.
Peace.
Oh, wait a minute. So Father Drew says men are the biggest haters, and they quickly play it hate. So Father Drew, would you like to share your insights online? Um,
He said a couple of things too.
Yeah, no, he has.
He said it's due to their competitive nature.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think to the point that Andrew made, I don't think there's anything wrong with being motivated, like again, because especially in the context of social media, you follow
Yeah.
people who should be inspiring you in some way. Um and so it should motivate you, ideally, inspire you to step your game up in certain areas, but again, it all depends on the lens through which you're viewing it. Are you viewing it through a lens of positive motivation, or like, or fuck that motherfucker?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that should be me. And I mean, look, what's for you is for you, right? But
Exactly.
what's
I was about to say the same thing. That's how I feel, because I feel like I can't be jealous of somebody because that wasn't meant for me.
yeah.
And I can't also be like, just what you said, like what God has for me is for me, but I'm jealous of this person for what God had for them. Like it doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction.
So Have More said he thinks we're confusing the difference between envy and jealousy. Well, so do you want to elaborate on that? Because I don't know. Um,
I missed it. I don't see it.
yeah, I mean, I I don't know what he means by that. So I think Father Drew might join.
He said 1 second.
Yeah. So does anyone else have any stories? Is anyone else a reformed hater?
You don't have to show your face.
Yes, they do.
No,
Does
no. This is a
anyone
safe
have any
space.
crazy jealousy stories? I mean, do I? I'm sure I do, but I don't think I want to share them on here. Sorry, I shared enough already.
Why you
So
want to share? And see, I think for me, even if I have had any, like, I'm so oblivious to a lot of things. Like stuff goes over my head easily. So I wouldn't even like. You got to paint me a picture for me to get it.
um,
Cause like people have told me like you have haters. I'm like, I don't have any haters as far as I'm concerned.
so I'm not even thinking about, because I mean, look, of course I know that people, there's some people don't like me. Fuck them motherfuckers. I mean, okay, and
Hey
I
Nan.
but I but if people who are calling themselves my friend don't like me, that's a different story. And sometimes some people give me, not anybody that I consider like that, that I'm very close to, but sometimes people give me vibes like, I don't know about your ass. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I don't know. Why are you really here? Who sent you? Like,
Yeah.
what is your real interest in knowing and in being my listening ear? Is it
Mm-hmm.
to know my business, just, so you can go tell it to somebody else?
Right, right.
Or
I'm
like,
hold
I'm
on
sorry, go ahead.
through the comments. Oh, Head Morez. Envy is wanting what others have. Jealousy is fear of losing a position to someone. Rezi, was that him who said something earlier and you were like, I didn't see it, but you had just read it about confusing envy and jealousy?
Oh, what, have mores?
Head
Yeah,
Morez. That's my
he was the one, he was the one who had said that.
oh,
So
okay. So he clarified it. Thanks for the clarification.
yeah, okay.
And
So,
my
well, I
brother,
said jealousy, but it's all in the same
jealousy and
family,
envy
right?
together. And this is my brother.
Who, who's the,
Thank you.
uh,
Um,
oh,
all right.
the one who said he's not your number one hater?
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So I don't know. I just that I think the bottom line is that people should not waste their energy, um, sort of focusing as much on what other people are doing. Um, Learn to be more grateful with what you have, no matter what you might be going through in life. And if, I know it sounds all like cliche and like obvious, and I'm talking to myself as much as I'm like saying this to other people, because when we go through things, like our instinct is to have a pity party and to be negative and to like dwell in negativity. But like if you focus on that, all you're doing is attracting more of that same energy into your space. And again, and you're attracting more of those same type of people who just want to commiserate, like the people who call themselves your friends but only want to come around to like, commiserate with you over something bad or sad or whatever that's going on in your life. But when you have good news to share,
They can't
they
be
are
found.
nowhere to be found. Weird. Um, or like, yeah, like if something good happens for you, like they're happy, as long as it's like it doesn't seem like you're outdoing them. But why is there like why the spirit?
Competition.
Yeah, like is this your people or no?
Right, right,
You know what I mean?
right. Like I said, if you winning, I'm winning. Like we all winning. Like it's not a competition. But
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like I'm a little competitive, but not when it comes to like people, like their blessings. Like I'm not. I just don't even feel like I never get the feeling of, being upset or jealous or feeling any kind of way about somebody that's doing good.
Yeah, because that's that genuine, warm, Aries,
That
loving,
it is.
that's that energy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it must be. We need
Nah, because
everybody to get on they gotta get on the vibe with us. They gotta catch this vibe because we out here doing it, we winning, we feeling good about everybody else. We
oh,
hyping everybody else up.
you know what? The other thing I wanted to say is that like when you are winning, right? Or you're doing well and things are going well for yourself and you want to share that. I don't think that's being like braggadocious or boastful, but when you do it in the vein of like, well, look what I'm doing, y'all ain't on my level, and that's the kind of vibe you're putting out. Well, again, why are you doing it in comparison to somebody else? If you're him or you're her, then you're that irrespective of anybody else. Like you're in your own lane, you're doing your own thing, you're that person no matter what room you walk into. And so like that just sort of emanates from your aura. It's just who you are. It's not about, well, I'm that person, I'm that dude, or I'm that chick, relative to anybody else. That's just, you know what I mean? And so when I see people doing that also at the same time, I also think that's whack. Like, why do you have to disparage somebody else to like big yourself up?
Right,
That's
right.
corny.
And Illuminati, I like that. She says sometimes competing against your friends inspires you to do better. It's all dependent on the energy behind it.
It's a
Exactly.
guy.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Illuminati. He said
He
it
was
happens.
on my Hip Hop Jeopardy last week.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. He said it happens all the time with friend groups that level each other up. That's how it is supposed to go. That's how you would want it to go or think that it should go. But like you said, it all depends on the energy behind it and who it's coming from and why.
It must be the night for Andrews, maybe. So I just got a request from the other. Oh, hello there.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Need more light.
This is Father Drew. Yeah, I don't know why the men always want to get on here in the dark. I mean, your lighting's kind of cool looking. I'm not gonna lie, but
See if I can turn it up. So, can you hear me?
yep.
We can hear you.
All right.
Okay, that's a little bit better. So yeah, you had a lot to say in the comments. So please share your perspective.
So I just got back on. What were you just talking about?
What's that?
I said I just got back on. So tell me what you
Oh,
were just.
so I mean, just you had made some comments about like that you think men are the biggest haters. That
I
was you,
mean,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we naturally have a competitive nature, and it comes out in our. From the time we're little boys, we're competing, and even in our friend groups, that tends to it just tends to come out. We start competing with each other. We compete for women. We compete for money. We compete with cars, with muscles, whatever it is.
Well, to the point that Illuminati made, I don't think, like, I get that that's sort of a natural, like, testosterone kind of man thing to do. And I don't think in that vein it's bad. Although the part you said about competing for girls, like, have you ever had a situation where somebody, like you and a close friend were competing for a girl, or not competing, but like y'all both like the same girl, and maybe she picked your friend and you felt a way about it, or vice versa? Have you ever been in a situation like that?
No, I mean, I think guys are like all girls. So if you and your guys are out and you see a group of bad females, I think you're probably interested in all of them, but you have to choose, right? And so once you make a choice and your guy makes a choice, if you don't like your choice and you are still interested in your guy's choice, chances are you, depending on your character, you might try and throw some
Salt?
some thoughts. You're gonna send some hate. You're gonna send some hate arrows. You're gonna some dirt somehow.
Do
Like
you find that
I've seen it happen a lot of
do you
times.
find
It still
it's
happens.
effective though? Because
Um,
again, like the point I
well,
was
well,
making, the point
well,
I
I
was
don't
making
do
before
that.
you, the point I was making before you came on is, I feel like, again, y'all should be, if since y'all are so competitive, it should be more on may the best man win. Now, if this is somebody that this
That's how
person,
it should be.
if this person is somebody that you're really feeling beyond just wanting to smash, then I feel like, and that's your people, then I feel like you should take a step back. Like, y'all should have a conversation about it, is really what I feel like, if it's that serious. And then, you know, and then see, like, if the chips fall where they may. Like, when a guy is like, he doesn't want to, a guy that you're just getting to know doesn't want to compete with anybody else for your attention. I mean, I thought y'all were supposed to be hunters. Like, if you that dude, then you should naturally stand out, amongst amongst the crowd, amongst the roster. But
Yeah, some guys are dirty hunters. Some guys wait for you to make the catch, and then they'll try and come in for the sweep.
yeah, I mean, but do you remain friends after that, or you just see it's fair in love and war?
It's no, a lot of friendships end that way.
With guys, though, I feel
Yeah,
like y'all can move on from stuff like that. Women, that would definitely end a friendship. Would you agree, Des?
To be honest, I was commenting, so I missed some of the
No,
story.
no. I was just saying, like, we were talking about if, um,
it
like, if
depends
two
on how
guys are
much
sort of,
you like that individual.
well, that's why I was saying, if it's somebody that you're feeling beyond just a smash and dash, then, like, wouldn't you express that to your boy, like, yo, like, I'm really feeling her. You know what? I actually, well, nah. You know what? I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
Never
but
mind.
that's not gonna make a hater back off though. That'll probably make a hater hate more.
I just think that's whack energy to have
It's very
in
whack.
within your proximity, within your orbit. Like, them type of people.
I mean, but that's how you realize who's around you, and it gives you the opportunity to weed people out that way.
True.
Most falling out that guys have is over women. So
I can believe that. Are these guys like friends, like y'all, are tight, or is it just like an acquaintance, somebody you just hang out with every now and then? Because I would
either
feel like
or,
it would make a difference depending on like how close your friendship is.
either or,
Um. Yeah.
women or money.
What'd you say?
I said women or money are the reasons that I think guys will fall out.
And men, it's usually just men. I think that the reason that women fall out. Like, would you? I think that's pretty accurate, right, Des?
Probably. I've never really had that experience, but I
That's
could see that
because
being.
yeah. No, because you more enlightened. Yeah, because I can't really think of a reason that women. Oh well, when they go on the girls trip,
That might do it.
because
For a second.
somebody's coming, because somebody's coming, bro, or somebody went off to be with a dude, a
Yep.
stranger, and everybody was worried. I mean,
No, or
maybe
brought
not.
them back. I can see if they brought the guy back to like their suite or Airbnb or something. But I can't say it because I'm a wanderer, and even when I go on trips, all my friends know like I wander off and do my own thing. I'm not going to go be with a dude or anything. But
Right.
yeah,
Nah, no. No. I mean, that's just some of the stuff I see people, talking about. Because I'm trying to think, like, why else would women fall out?
I think
I
I think you're right. I think it's probably men over guy.
Yeah.
Something dumb.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, the point is, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. Focus on your purpose in life. Don't worry about and again, this is in close relationships with your family, with your friends, with your mate. And if you have, I mean, you can't really get rid of family that behaves that way, but you can maintain some separation.
Yes,
Again,
you
if you
can.
address it with people, and it's not necessarily a comfortable conversation to have with someone, but like if you observe that they have this kind of energy with you, then I think you just have to, you interact with them accordingly. Now, if it's your husband or wife, I mean, you got an issue.
Wait,
that
TSR photo says men fall out due to big disagreements, but never for little things.
like
I feel like that's kind of
vague.
yeah, because big disagreements 9 times out of 10. Well, I'm gonna say 9 times out of 10, but somebody else could look at that disagreement and think it's a little thing.
Yeah, like what kind of disagreements over?
Like
So
big
he's saying it's
disagreements,
not over
like
women.
death.
No.
Like,
So what he's actually trying to say is that women fall out over
mm,
little
yeah, that's what he's
Yeah.
saying. But they're all little things at the end of the day, really.
Well, I was gonna say, I do think that men can get over like even a situation like that. I think that men can get over that and move on and still be cool
Yeah.
with one another. But women, yeah, that's like nah, like that's
thing.
death to the friendship forevermore.
What little things that do we not get over, I guess?
Well, I think he's trying to say that that is a little thing, but I think it depends on the situation. If you're talking about somebody that y'all just met together, then sure. If you're talking about like you was messing with somebody's man that they were in a relationship with or their husband, I mean that's not really a little thing. But but I don't know. I don't know if he elaborated on that or not. But anyway, like I said, go to therapy. I'm not, I'm not
That's the solution.
I'm
Bottom line.
not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I'm just saying I think
It works.
I
No,
think
therapy
these
is important.
which that
I was saying therapy is super important. I perform weddings. I do premarital counseling,
oh
and
okay.
one of the things that is now one of my prerequisites for any couples that I'm going to marry is that they do individual counseling, even before you take that step, because you have to find out things about yourself that you don't yet know, but that your partner is going to expose once you get married, right? And you have to learn about yourself and realize who you really are. Like, you can only see a portion of yourself, but your partner will see all of you. And you know, some of the times we have trouble as we grow together because our partners change, but we also change, and we're not always, able to accept those changes and accept, who it is that we are, truly. So, I think I'm 100%, 100% for therapy for men and women. I wish everybody would go.
I wish everybody would go too, because honestly, now that I've been going, and the things that I was kind of, the red flags that I was ignoring in the past, that now I'm like, as soon as I see it, I'm like, get somebody else to do it. um, I'm saying to myself, damn it, like, I, I feel like I don't think I could have a fulfilling relationship with somebody who has not had some kind of like touch point with a therapist, because you don't understand yourself well enough. And if I can, and once again, I'm not suggesting I have some type of background in that, but if I recognize certain issues that you might potentially have based on what I've learned in my experience of going to therapy, I'm like, this isn't going to work, because we're speaking from two different like playbooks. You're not going to understand what I'm talking about. I want you to be more like, I just want us to be able to communicate in a way where we're understanding one another. You're not going to understand me, because
Yeah,
you're going to be operating from your traumas
but
and
we
your
all
triggers.
are. But we all are.
Yeah, I am too, but I know
So
that's what I'm doing,
yeah,
right?
but we have to learn how to meld ourselves together, right? We have to learn how to learn each other, because we like our natural state is going to we're going to have conflict with whoever at some point. I mean, it might be a long honeymoon stage, but once that's over, then comes the conflict, because who we really are starts to come out. So in any type of relationship anyway, you're going to have to learn how to that we know ourselves so much, but we're not interested in taking the time and making the sacrifice to learn how to adjust who we are to go along with somebody else, because you're going to have to make adjustments no matter what.
No, of course. I realize that. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever counseled a couple and then was like, I don't think this is gonna work?
Yeah.
I'm sure they still went ahead and probably got together anyway, but or did they?
I think one or two might have called it off separate from our counseling, right? So they might have started with me, and then I might have seen some things, and we might have talked about some things, and then they might have called it off for a different reason. And so, you get to, wipe your brow before having to address, some of those issues.
Right.
But I think that, like, nobody's completely compatible. My wife and I are very, very different. She likes to say we're complete opposites.
And how do you make
and
that work?
Work. a lot of work.
They say opposites attract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I did a show about compatibility versus chemistry. And see, the way I was operating previously, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably still look for the butterflies, right? Is I needed chemistry. I needed to have that feeling of like, when I see them, like, I get that feeling in my stomach, and when I see their name pop up on the phone and that type of stuff. But like, it's fleeting,
Yeah.
is what I've come to realize. And like, yeah, ideally you have both. But like, I had three guys on there with me, and when I said, well, what about, the saying that opposites attract, and they were all like, no, like that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, compatibility is what you should be focusing on. And I don't know. I kind of tended after I talked to them, I kind of was thinking they might be onto something, but
that
you said no.
so to not go for I mean, the couples that I know who've been in long-term relationships, like I've been married 17 years.
Oh well, good for you.
We've been together 20 something years since I was 19, or since I was like 20. 2021, I'm 42 now. The couples that I know who are, in long-term relationships, like they're very different. It's like yin and yang. And the ones who are, I don't know. I think the ones who dress alike, act alike, all that stuff, do all the same thing. That's cool. It's a little corny to me, but if it works, it works. You know
I love that stuff.
I mean, look, whatever floats your boat, I
Yeah,
guess.
if it works, it works. But I see the people who have, and you, the longer you're together, if you're actually working at it, then the more you'll start to blend, right? And so you'll start to do things together. You'll start to enjoy things together. You'll start to communicate in similar ways. But there's a chemistry that comes because you're learning each other. Like you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're gonna uncover things every day that you didn't know before. Like there's stuff about yourself that you'll realize that you didn't know before, and so it has to be a constant learning process, and you have to do that intentionally. You can't take your foot off the gas, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember being in a relationship where we would argue, disagree, or whatever, and there wasn't really a "I'm sorry, I did so and so," and them arguments would be not physical, but like it was there was no sort of rules of engagement,
Yeah.
right? And then there was no real apologizing afterwards. It was just kind of going back to like everything was normal and not really sort of addressing the root of what caused it in the first place. So it just festers and lingers and builds up into, something worse and worse over time. Is like,
yeah. Well, women have the ability to address things into the ground, 6 feet under the ground. They want to address it the next day, the day after that, 2 weeks later.
Yeah, because y'all just want to act, y'all just want to pretend like that didn't just happen. And look, I can do that too. If I have my, I can be like short tempered and, I can go off AWSF,
Yeah,
right?
you don't want to have to do
No,
that. Like, you
no,
don't want to
I don't. I don't want to be like that. That's not, because when I do that, I'm like, I have like, fire in my eyes. So I'm liable to say anything.
I know.
And
I'm the same
and I can
way.
say something.
It's like nobody's off limits. Your dead mama, I don't care. Like, yes, she could get it too. I know. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'll be, and then I'm like, damn, you didn't have to do that. But
When's your birthday?
we're both Aries. I'm March 29th.
I'm March 24th.
Awesome. Moody Aries. My son is an Aries.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Yeah.
That's some moody people.
Yep. We are. I own it. Oh, I definitely am. I can't get rest until I know what mood I'm in.
That's funny.
Spicy. That's what I Anyway, so the moral of the story is don't be out here being a hater. Be a congratulator and worry about yourself, because the more time you expend focus on what other people are doing, the less time you have to better yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's one to grow on, right?
Yep.
And You don't want to be at the end of your days, regretting, excuse me, what you could have, would have, and should have done to live the life you wanted to live because you were so busy worrying about the way somebody else was living theirs that may or may not have anything to do with you. That's it. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you. I appreciate you joining.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Des. Okay, so you can see yourself out. Sorry. So Des was my co-host.
Can you kick me out? I don't know
I
quite how to.
can't. No.
All right,
You
give
should
me
see an
1
X.
second.
Just X
Oh,
yourself
the
up
top.
out of here.
All right, here I go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank you. Anyway, so thank you, nice lady, as always, for joining
Of
me.
course, anytime.
Go follow. Des, do you have business pages for your?
I
Okay,
do.
so
I,
tell the people, let the
yes.
people know what they are.
So yes, you can follow. I have 2 businesses and 2 business pages. One is Chaos to Clarity. That's KAOS, the number 2 Clarity. That's my professional organizing business. I also have a website. And my other business is Sister Sense, and that's SISTAHSCENTS.
In the chat.
Yes, I'll put it down here. And yeah, so people can people can custom scent their own candles and body products. And we also have a location, and we're relocating in Philly, where you can actually come in, and we do parties, we do all kinds of celebrations and gatherings, so you can come and custom scent your products there.
Wonderful. You see, we don't hate, we celebrate, and we congratulate, and we support. So put your business names in the chat so the people can go follow you and support you and buy your candles and get organized and come to your space and right?
Yes.
And then their blessings will flow, right?
Yep.
Because they're putting out that good energy.
Yep.
I'm
There you
saying.
go.
See what I'm saying? So anyway. All right. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with us this evening, and I will see y'all next Wednesday. Peace
Good
and
night.
fingers.